Hey, welcome back to Everyday Economics. It's the podcast that helps you learn about the economic world happening around all of us every day. I'm your host, Chris Krug, publisher of the Center Square Newswire service. Everyday Economics is brought to you by the Center Square. We're recording this episode on the 27th of February, 2026, and joining me as always, my friend and colleague, the ubiquitous Dr. Orphe Divounguy, fresh from a trip back and forth to Atlanta. How's Atlanta these days, Dr. O?
Did
you get to spend enough time there to make any sense of what's going on in Atlanta?
Not really. I was kind of on the outskirts. By their new, apparently the stadium, the baseball stadium was moved. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. They have a Truist Park. They've got a beautiful new baseball stadium and complex. Right. Kind of the modern economics of baseball, which, with spring training going on, we might have to come back around and talk about like sort of what's happening with baseball. Of course, I live outside of Chicago, and the Chicago Bears don't even know if they're going to be living or playing in Chicago, possibly in Indiana.
That's right.
There actually was even an opportunity, I think, presented by Iowa to move the Bears. So anyway, every once in a while we like to check in on personal economics, right? Right. How are people doing in this economy? And I have raised the question of debt and delinquencies and the numbers related to debt and delinquencies over the last few years. And there's some numbers that are not too hot. I mean, it's the New York Fed, I believe, that came out with this.
That's right.
But, and these numbers are big, but remember, there's a lot of people in the United States. We're talking about 335 million people, per the last census. But I'll read it straight from the rip. Let me set it up real quick, and then you can you could take that 15-pound Brunswick and just roll it right through whatever I'm going to say. Okay. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, total U.S. household debt rose to a record $18.8 trillion in the fourth quarter of 2025, driven by increases in mortgage, auto, and credit card balances. While non-housing debt delinquencies showed signs of leveling off, overall stress increased, particularly among younger and lower-income borrowers with student loan serious delinquencies. Well, you'll have to tell me what serious delinquencies are. But anyway, that serious delinquency rate surged to 16.2%, so 1 out of 6. So, all right. So now, go ahead. Let her rip.
That's pretty much that's correct. And I mean, it's the scary part is that it is younger households, right? The 18 to 29-year-old group. You could even argue, if you combine those two groups, 18 to 39-year-old group, that is really, really seeing the big jump. I mean, the other groups have seen a jump, but the level is still somewhat, is low enough. But, younger households are really taking a hit in this economy. Why? Because, look, the good times didn't keep rolling. In 2021, you could switch jobs on a whim. You get up, there'll be plenty of job openings. We called it the Great Resignation. And yes. And the labor market has pretty much dried up, especially for these kind of less experienced, younger, early entrants. In 2025, there was almost no job growth across the country. And if you look deeper at the data, what you learn is that half of U.S. states actually saw job losses. Half of U.S. states saw job losses in 2025. And most of the job creation on net that we saw last year came from just a handful of industries, right? Predominantly healthcare, right, for the most part. And so if you're not in healthcare and you have a job, you are hanging on to that job. And if you are unemployed, you are taking longer to find a job. And so all of these things are likely contributing to the reason why we're starting to see these younger households that tend to be renters really squeezed right? The cost of everything went up during the pandemic, rent included. Rent was up 27% in the last 6 years. Food prices up 31%. So you're really starting to see younger households with fewer assets
Yeah.
find themselves struggling to keep up.
All right. So let me ask you this question. Do you have an idea of like sort of where like demographically, I mean, or age wise specifically? We say younger. I mean, as you and I get to be older, younger could, especially for me, younger starts to take on a completely different meaning.
Yeah.
So are we talking about recent college graduates
We're
who
talking
are
about 18 to 40 year olds,
okay?
right?
That's a
So
pretty
it's really,
that's a wide swath of people,
that
right?
is. So both these groups, you have the groups of 18 to 29, and then you have this group of 30 to 39 year olds,
Yeah.
right? You're looking at 6 and 4%. When you look at transitions into delinquency, 90 day delinquent or more.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so it's really that group. The biggest group in trouble is 18 to 29. So they're just like fresh out of college, in college or fresh out of college, right?
Yeah.
Um, they're struggling.
So is this a case? I mean, and I don't know. Maybe you can offer a thought on this. Is this a case of softer degrees that require student loans manifesting themselves
No,
negatively in the
no,
market?
not necessarily, because when you look at the student loan delinquency rate, it's actually hitting the 50 or 40 and 50 year olds more. So these are people that are actually out of kind of out of that stage,
Yeah.
and they're now struggling.
But are these their loans or are these their children's loans?
I have no idea. I don't have data to substantiate.
Yeah, that's where like I'm just trying to make sense of this in in terms of reality and conversations, that I've had. I mean, like I am at the point in my life where I am cutting checks to universities. And I'll tell you what, they are big. Had I not started, you know, 529 plans for my kids years ago. I mean, years and years ago. I honestly, I don't know how I would make it work.
Yeah, but
Um,
is the debt under your name though, or is it under your kids' names?
well, there's no debt because I mean because I
Right,
have
because you
because I
you
was
had
able to
those
save.
plans,
But
right?
otherwise, I mean,
Right.
I would be in the situation that I think a lot of parents, who are my age and who have college age students would be. The debt's going to be somebody's, and since the
Yeah, it's
the
probably under the kids' names, right?
well, it really it depends because there are loans that are offered, that could go one of two ways. And I mean, if you're a parent and you're going to let your kids get themselves into, a secured loan that they're fully obligated to, and you're not having a conversation about college as an investment in them and helping them to make sense of like what they're, what's the profession that you're going to go into or what kind of jobs do you think you're going to have? They're going to be in a lot of trouble. I mean, if you're spending, I mean, oh, we're talking about $50,000 in some cases
Oh
on the
yeah,
bottom end for
of
some of
course,
the universities,
of
right?
course,
So a
of
two
course.
hundred thousand dollar degree, and I mean that is a big hole to put yourself
That,
in if you're going to go
that's
and
right.
get a job that's only going to pay you sixty
That's
thousand
right.
dollars a year for the first few years of your career. If you can get to $60,000, which would be a great place, frankly, for a college
That's right.
graduate to be
That's
able to
right.
start. What else
Yeah.
do you see in the
Well, I
numbers
mean,
that you want
you know,
to call out?
the one thing I would call out is that yes, we've seen this return of student loan debt, but you also have credit card and auto loan debt, right? And those
Yeah.
delinquency rates are now uh, just as high, almost as high as they were back in early 2011, right?
Hmm.
So you're really seeing these younger households really feeling the pinch.
Yeah. Well, we're going to pay attention to this because this number seems to be sort of ebbing and flowing, but in this kind of, it's been in this range for what feels like a few years. The numbers are not stark. It's not like everything just sort of fell off the table. But
Well,
I
it's been
appreciate.
going up. It's been climbing
Yes.
since, I want to say, since 2024.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
started to see the
that's about right.
climb, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to watch out for.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts as always, Dr. O. For Orphe Divounguy, this has been Chris Krug. Subscribe to Every Economics wherever you get your great podcasts. Make sure you read Orphe every week at the Center Square and across the Center Square Newswire service. And listen to Orphe and me every weekend on the Center Square Radio Hour.